Hey everybody, welcome to Wine Wednesday, Kevin and Robin. And Robin, we are in one of the most fantastic, dynamic, spectacular regions in France this week. We are in my favorite region right now, the Loire Valley. What are we tasting?
We're tasting all kinds of things, but I'm hoping that we're going to taste a little muscadet.
Ooh, oh, it's cold.
Well,
why not?
Thinking
lucky. Got one of these. Let's get going.
Let's get going.
Want to start us off talking about the pack a little bit before we jump into this?
Let's talk about the pack.
All right.
We picked all wines from the Loire Valley, as you mentioned. Very exciting little region, and one that's really expanded in the shop. If you've been in lately, you can probably see it's kind of taken over.
Yeah, well, there's good reason for that. I've been, we were in the Loire Valley last year in January of 2020, and we found so many amazing things that we just had to bring it all back. Mm-hmm. So we found probably 10 or 12 new producers in the Loire, which I think is really exciting because the cool thing about Loire is you get wines, all kinds of styles, from sparkling to red to sweet wine to dry whites. You get all kinds of stuff, and the value is, I'd say, spectacular. I'd say it's as good as anywhere.
As good as anywhere. But that's why we made the little pack, so you get to try a little bit of all of those things. We go from sparkling, nice dry white, a little bit of rosé, and then super crushable red. I don't know if you've had this lately, but it's got a little gamay, a little cab franc, a little grollo, but meant to be just like super fresh, light and juicy, pretty easy.
Yeah, Augereau is really fun. I think that's like a really nice kind of picnicky wine or wine to have if you're not doing food or just some light stuff. But I thought that was really fun. I love the rosé too.
Mm-hmm. Again, another little Cab Franc blend, which again in your rosé, it's kind of going to offer like a little bit of like a spicy character, ripe red currant, raspberry, super tasty. Really good with like a little bit of cheese too.
Absolutely. I think one of the weird things, we always see a lot of rosé from the south of France, right? And not so much from the Loire, which really doesn't make sense to me because rosé really loves to come from places that are a little bit cooler, right? If you think about the climate in the Loire, it's perfect for rosé. So we're going to definitely hunt down more of those because I think that's an amazing rosé and a great value. Another thing they do really well in the Loire is bubbles.
Mm-hmm. Traditional method done with Grollo Gris, Domaine Haute-Bourg Plaisance, which means pleasure because it is meant to just be super tasty, enjoyable. On the shelf, it's $23 for traditional method sparkling, which is crazy good value.
Yeah, I think so. Now on to the main event, Domaine de la Pépinière. So this was one of the big finds that we had on our last trip to Loire Valley. So we are now in the Nantes region. So we are way on the west coast in the northern part of France. So kind of the coolest climate really that you can grow and ripen grapes in France. The grape variety we've got here is Melon de Bourgogne. So these are going to be very crisp, very lean. If you like Chablis, if you like sort of, more mineral driven wines, this is going to be right up your alley. And Pépinière is, well, for me and a lot of people, the most famous producer in the whole region.
Oh, yeah.
And for good reason.
They do a lot of really cool things. And I mean, I love this wine if we're doing, we're talking oysters, mussels, any of those shellfish. This is the ultimate pairing. It's got that salinity, lots of minerality. It's super racy and vibrant.
Yeah, and the history here is really incredible. So if you look at the back of this, you see all the organic symbols on there, which is unusual in the Nantes. So in this part of France, muscadet is quite inexpensive, right? So you have a lot of producers there. They're mostly large producers, and they never really did a lot of the work in the vineyards that you saw in places like Burgundy, where people took their vineyard work a little more seriously because they could never get the money. And Pépinière was really the first one. They did things that no one had done before. They started growing organically. They started to look at their plots individually, right? So instead of just throwing it all in big tanks and fermenting it together, they were making small lots and identifying the best parcels and making separate wines, which was really, seems like normal now, but really unheard of at the time. The other thing is, once they get the wine into the winery, they were taking a lot more time with it. So first of all, natural fermentation. So they're not adding any yeast, natural yeast, which you never see in this part of France in Muscadet. They were the first ones to do it. And then they were giving 9 months of lees age even to their basic wine, which is way more than most of the producers were doing. So they were really looking at quality at a totally different level. They were letting their vines get a lot older, so they had all these great old vines. They were making different wines from different plots. They're really focusing on quality at a time when really people were thinking Muscadet, we're never going to get a lot of money for this, so why focus on quality? And they raced right to the top as one of the very best producers in Muscadet. And we're really fortunate and lucky to be able to access these wines because for me, I think they're one of the best values out there. I mean, if you look at what we're paying for Chablis these days, and especially with the frost they've had the last few years, it's only getting more expensive, but like 40, 50 bucks for a bottle of Chablis. And what's this guy going for?
That's $27.
So, I mean, in this style of wine, if you like those really crisp, mineral-laden wines and tons of character, and they're so charming, and they're such amazing food wines, I don't know if you can do any better than 27 bucks.
And the other thing I love about them too, I mean, a lot of the producers in the Loire, they do a little bit from the cruise and kind of the higher end vineyard sites, but with these guys, actually 50% of their production comes from that, including this guy from Chateau Thibault.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we're going to be able to talk about this one
We have
today
to.
because I think we only got 6 or 7 cases, and I think we only have
It's pretty much
about
gone.
one left. Yeah, but if you're watching this and you're paying attention, I think we still have a few bottles of this that you can pick up.
We've got a little bit in store, so you'll have to come and see us, but then you can taste that guy while you're here.
Yeah, have a little taste of this, and if there's a bottle or two of this left. How much is the Chateau Thibault going for?
So this is $39 on the shelf, but again, really, really good value because it actually is quite comparable if you're thinking again of Chablis, like you were mentioning. They age this for 42 months on lees,
Wow.
so it just adds so much texture. And they kind of have to with this one. It's got like really, really vibrant acidity, tons of minerality, so it just adds that texture, rounds it out, and makes it so, so pretty.
This was a quick purchase for me. As soon as this came in, I grabbed 5 or 6 bottles and
think
threw
you
them.
took
Yeah,
them
I took them home because the fun thing with this is you can really age it. I mean, this is 2017 too, which we should mention. This is 2020, but this is 2017 because they've kept it on the lees for an extra, 3.5 years, which you again never see in Muscadet. So you're seeing some really rare stuff here. You're seeing like the best of Muscadet and some of the most interesting wines in the Loire Valley for my money. So if you like those styles, we want to see you down here this
I like
weekend.
this.
You definitely want to try these because they are spectacular. I can tell by how much the staff is buying that this is a winner. And I know you got one more thing to talk about.
I do. Christmas is here.
It is feeling like it is anyway. Especially how fast these guys are going.
If you get our emails, you would have seen these have gone on pre-sale and pre-order online on our website, or you can call into the store. We can help you out. But 12 full bottles of wine, $249.95. They are available to set aside for you now.
And we put some really cool stuff in there this year. So you're going to see a lot of new wines. There's a wine or two in there that isn't even on the shelf. So you're going to see some new stuff this year. We really worked hard this year to get some really interesting things in there. And there's a little description, I think, that goes along with that, right? So there you go. Buy them online for $249 for 12 bottles, or come by and see us. And
You even rhymed there. That never happens.
on purpose. Or come by and see us, and we'd love to pour you a splash of this because we're really proud to have it, and we can't wait to see you on the weekend. So see you soon.